In episode 3 of Shaymen Legends, I'm joined by former FC Halifax Town legend Danny Lowe. Let's get Danny on. So Danny, start it off, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright, thank you, mate. I'm all good. How are you?
Good, sir, thank you.
Good. Good to hear, mate.
So how did you start your career in the first place?
I started off at Liverpool. It was my first pro career. I was about 14. Went to play the B side, and then I got into the first team under Eugene and Faz, which I really liked, to be fair as well back then for the North East counties. Went on a good FA Cup run, beat Harrogate Town, one of the teams I ended up playing for. Did really well. Like I said, I was only about 15 then, playing open age. So moved on from there to Harrogate Railway. Did really well there, to be fair. We had a good side. Another good FA Cup run. I've always managed to, wherever I've been, had good FA Cup runs, to be honest. So we ended up playing Mansfield on TV. And then I played against Neil Aspin's Harrogate Town quite a few times, and I played really well. And he spoke to Vinnie Brock about me. And at the time, I went on trial at Huddersfield Town. And he said, "Oh, you can't have him." And then we played against him. He used to play a cup. Can't remember what the cup's name was, between the two Harrogate sides every year. And I played really well. And then we played him in another cup in the mid-season. And Vinny rang me the next day while I was at work and said, "Listen, Neil Aspin."
Was it Riding Cup? I think it's West Riding Cup.
Yeah, it could have been the West Riding Cup or something. I would have thought it would have been something like that. And then he just said, "Listen, Neil spoke to me last night after the game. I've told him you don't have to put 7 days in for you, really." He said, "Look, you're a good player. You're too young. You're young enough, sorry. You're too good for this level. I've told him we don't need to put 7 days in for you. I'm just going to ring you." That same night, I ended up training up at Harrogate. So, yeah.
Didn't you play for both Harrogates?
I played for both Harrogates, yeah. Luckily, I've not had much stick from either fans, really, to be fair. It makes me quite well, so I'm sure it's a no-no up there. But no, both sets of fans still receive me pretty well, so...
Yeah. In the first place, what attracted you to join FC Halifax Town, with the club playing at such low level and also playing part-time at the time?
I'll be honest with you, and Neil will probably tell you this. I'd worked my way up, like say, from Liverpool's North East, about 22 or something like that. I worked my way up all the way through the leagues. And then obviously I'd gone to Harrogate, played a bit of a season, and then we got into the playoffs and was doing really well. Then we ended up falling out, and Neil left and went to Halifax. And he went, "I want to join you." And I said to him, "No, I don't want to come." I've just worked my way up all the way through the leagues. I don't want to drop back down. Yeah, I don't want to drop back down. So I've just done this. And Simon Weaver tried to keep me, but this was in the same time trying to keep me. And they had to pay for me, did Halifax, to be fair, because I was under the ruling. And Neil said, "Listen, come with your nan," because my nan came to every game. She still does now. Even when I was a kid, she took me everywhere. Just come to the ground, have a look around, see what you think, meet some of the people like behind the off the pitch. And when I would look round and the players were bringing and the level that we were playing at, no disrespect, I knew it was. He persuaded me anyway. I played for Neil. I think I'm his longest serving player. I played for him for about 8 years.
Like a very long time.
Yeah. So we came to the agreement. I knew it was a step backwards to probably go forward pretty quickly, which we did. Yeah, which we did. So I'll be honest, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to do it. Nothing to do with Neil. Like I say, I just worked so hard to get up to that level, to go back down. But thankfully, I made the right decision. I did it. And like I said, the rest is history, and everybody else knows the story where we got the club to. So,
a day I never forget was the Brockley playoff final. But three promotions in 4 years is impressive at any level. How did the squad actually do it?
Well, it was just it was a combination of obviously all being good players. Yeah, don't matter how good the squad was, you've still got to go out and do the job, regardless of anything. But this goes back to Neil as well, and Trev, to be fair, when he was there. They didn't just pick good players, they picked good people.
Yeah.
And that's what Asp was really big into that. It was, you could be the best player in non-league or whatever. If you didn't follow our ethics or our team mentality, or you didn't fit into the group, you wouldn't last long. Even if players came in, they didn't stay long. So as much as we was good on the pitch, we was really close. We still really are close now. We was as close off the pitch as on it. which helped us do as well as we did.
It was a really established team, though, because obviously, I know they left in the end, but you had Baker, Lee Gregory, Mark Roberts, you had Dino, you had them all that were quite an established team that stayed together for quite a few seasons.
It was, yeah, and like I say, we'd all played above that level and beyond it. So realistically, on paper, we were expected to do well.
It were quite embarrassing when we were just beating, we were humiliating sides, like battering them away from home and stuff.
Yeah, and like it came with obviously like the old cliche. Football is full of cliches. Yeah. You can't play the game on paper, but on paper, should have never been touched anyway. Some games, obviously, we batter teams away. Some we struggle, some we lost that we shouldn't have lost. But that's but it don't matter how good your side is, whatever names you got in it, you still got to go out and do it. Because obviously, the better the team we had, the better names we had, the bigger responsibility came with it and the expectation. And us did very well to manage the players and manage that expectation. And also the players, we never got carried away with ourselves. We just knew that we were all in it together. We took each game as it came, like I say, another cliche, but that's all you can do. And we just we did the job that we was obviously paid to do. The fans wanted us to do and help get the club back to where it is now. So, yeah.
Danny, I looked at your stats and I noticed that you very rarely missed a game for Town. In other words, very reliable. How did you manage playing week in, week out and not get injured and stay fit, especially when we were like part-time as well?
Yeah, to be fair, I think my win ratio was pretty high, to be fair. Sonny Macker has gone on to do better, I think, and me and Mac stayed there a little bit longer than me. I just always try, even when I was part-time, I trapped myself as professional as I could. I stayed in the gym a lot. I trained. My mentality was I trained how I played. If I got injured, like my physios will tell you this, because I came the hard way through non-league up. I played through niggles, and if I was injured, I'd get through it. My body reacted pretty well to them just because I wanted to keep playing. And I don't know, to be fair, I just love playing. I won't let any injury stop me unless it had to stop me and I had no choice. I'd always put myself out. I still want to play. And when you play for a side like Halifax with the lads you play, you don't want to miss any games anyway because we had such a good team. If you got injured, you might not get back in the team for a while. So, but I always keep myself fit and keep myself as professional as possible. So I'd probably say that's got a lot to do with it, to be honest.
When you were playing for Halifax, obviously you were part-time. What job were you actually doing while you were part-time with Halifax?
I've always worked in the hire industry, plant and tool hire. HSS hire people I hire like tools, diggers, dumpers, things like that. So I've always done well where my bosses knew who I played for and what I did. So they were always supportive.
Yeah.
If I travel away midweek or leave early for games. So I'm very fortunate in that way. So I'm very thankful to them. But yeah, so my industry it's all in the tool hire industry.
When we think of the squad, you were joined by, for example, Lee Gregory, Mark Roberts, Glennon, Baker, the list can go on. But was it capable of playing at a lot higher level, especially when you think of the results we were getting? Do you think if the squad was together today, playing in that era, you could have achieved many more trophies and promotions with the club getting to the Football League, for example?
Yeah, I mean, his first season in the conference, obviously, we more than held the zone. Some people say it might have been fluke, but
yeah.
I would think, obviously, I mean, this is no detriment whatsoever. I think, obviously, if we've had another season together, I probably would have thought we'd have equalled, if not better, what we did for the experience. But life's all about if buts and maybes, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, the team we had there for such a young team, and we'd come through, and like I said, we'd come from the leagues up. A couple have come down, like say Matty Glennon, John Worthington, people that played high level, which was invaluable experience. Because you do, when you get to that level, you do need the balance. You need obviously the younger players, the youth, the people that want to do it, and you've got the people that have been and done it and come down, and they bring a bit of calm and stability and experience to the group. But yeah, if you put us back together, obviously, maybe not now. We're all a bit older and a bit more tubby, but if you put us on ability wise back then, yeah, I think we'd do us equally well, if not better.
In 2014, you left the Shaymen to join fellow Yorkshire rivals Guiseley. Fans were sad to see you go, but what decided you to? Did you decide to leave, and then was it the managerial change that made you decide to leave?
No, because obviously I stayed another year or halfway through a year when I left. So, like I said, I'd played for us for such a long time and done what at Halifax, and probably maybe we were a victim of his own success. But I kind of knew at the time, like a lot of players, that my time was coming to an end with Halifax now. I think they thought there was, like I said, this in no detriment to it. They thought they needed to go in another way and go with experienced players more that had been and done it, or maybe could go hybrid, full time if you like it, half part time, half full time. But I have no regrets, no nothing. I'd had a good career at Halifax. The fans were receptive to me. I was receptive back to them. I'd done everything and achieved everything possible at Halifax, from a player to captain to winning what we did. So I'll only look back on fond memories. But I think I knew the time was right, to be fair, for a change. Maybe it was time for Halifax to change a few players also, to freshen it up a little bit. So
I was speaking to a fan, and you scored quite a few goals to say you were a fullback.
Yeah, I didn't mind bombing on, to be fair, back then. If I ever got a chance to get myself forward, I would. Unless Vardy were in front of me, then there were no chance of overlapping. Never going to catch him. So I picked my moments wisely. But yeah, if you look at my shot ratio, I think probably at Halifax, pretty deadly when I was in the box, to be fair.
I'll move on to some fan questions now. I've got some from Twitter and Instagram that people have sent, but I've also got one in the chat that's just come through. I'll just read it out. Would Danny have swapped the Brackley final to have played in the 2017 promotion final at the Shea? That was against Charlie when we won 2-1.
I came to watch that game.
Mm-hmm. Did you?
Yeah, I came to watch it. Like I say, I want the fan. I've always had fond memories of the club, so no, because I came through the leagues with the lads that I won it with, so it meant more to me. That was our time. That was their time. So I was equally as happy for the players. I don't think I only knew a couple, and the club and the club in general. So I was equally as happy for them. But I'm glad I achieved with what I achieved with who I achieved it with. So apart from the league thing, what we'd done previous years, that'll be like close to my heart forever. So no, I'm happy with what we did on our time, and I'm equally as happy for what the players did on that day, and I was proud of them, and I was proud over there.
So I'll move on to the ones from Twitter and Instagram now. The first one is, what was the best ever goal you scored for the club?
For the club, I won't say I scored any spectacular one. The one that stands out the most, the sentimental value, was after I've been to Trevor Staunton's funeral, and I scored away at Kendall. So I scored a couple of goals at Shaymen, whatever, but that one meant the most. It was the first game after Trevor died, dedicated to.
Turn off. Oh, no, I don't. It don't matter. What were you saying, sorry?
Yeah, so the one that I'd like I said, I scored a few, nothing major, spectacular, a few good finishes, but the one that I hold the most is the one. It was the first game after Trevor died. We all had black armbands, so I dedicated that to him. So because Trevor, obviously, I think the fans knew, the players knew. Trevor meant a lot, and he was a big part of what we started to achieve at Halifax and got the wheels moving. And it was a shame he passed away. The lads thought a lot of him, so the fact I could score the game after we had the black armbands on, I dedicated that to him and his family, and yeah, so I'll always remember that one.
What was the best ever game you attended at when you were playing for the Shaman?
I've got a few, to be fair. Well, not the Shade, the one Garforth away when we came back. That'll always. The FC United home New Year's Day. I think there was about 4,000 there or something like that. It was absolutely rocking, and we absolutely peppered them. To be fair, that was a good one. Obviously got the Charlton one, apart from getting sent off. Obviously, that won't go down well. I've got so many memories, hard to say. We had such a good run of games, and we had so many special games, and the Lancaster ones, things like that, when we were chasing them and everything like that. So I've got quite a few. The one that sticks out in my memory, just for the atmosphere and everything about it, and the look on the opposite, like FC United's face when we were in the change room and our fans were absolutely bouncing and singing. It was a really good atmosphere. It was good to play at Shea there.
The last one from the fans that I've chosen was, I've actually gone to a few Scarborough games. What was your time at Scarborough like?
Indifferent. Some of the lads were right. There are a few of the lads.
Yeah. Do you know James Walsh?
I know Wally, yeah.
I actually went to a game for my mate's birthday. I went to Scarborough versus Wallington. I don't know if you were playing in that game. It was about 2 seasons ago. And they did it. I think they won us. Oh no, it was a draw. I think it was a 1-1 draw. But anyway, obviously we did have the sad news that Dino passed away last Sunday.
Yeah.
He scored 70 goals in 128 appearances for the Shaymen, which is pretty phenomenal, to be honest.
Yeah.
What was he like in the changing room on and off the pitch?
Well, right. Yeah. Well, right. I don't know. It was. I think you've seen the outpour of him, not just from our fans, not just from our players, from the clubs he played at too, and further afield. It was just a big gentle giant, a big part of what we did, and it means a lot to us then, and it means a lot to us now. Genuinely do love him dearly, and I still do.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of things planned for him when we can, and it'll all be announced. We're trying. It was the first cult hero.
Yeah.
FC Halifax. He could lose the ball 10 times in a row, and you still get the fans shouting, "Give it to Dino." He'd get it away 10 times on bounce, but he didn't. He just keep giving it him. Didn't matter how he played, he'd end up popping up with a goal, 40-yard screamer or trophy tapping. It was a special lad, a special man. He's a special.
A really, really good player for that level.
Yeah. It was, like I say, a big, gentle giant. Good person. A lot of special memories with him, me and all the lads. And like I say, we're going to, between us, keep these memories going. Make sure he's remembered for how he deserves to be remembered.
There was another tweet as well. Baker, Baker used to play for Halifax, said he'd like to get all the ex-players from Halifax and play a game versus Chorley, and try get the Shaman full attended. Would you be up for that?
We're already on with it, so we're on with it. So me and Bake speak regularly. I've got some plans what we want to do. We've run it back. Me and Bakes went to see Dino's mum and family yesterday. We've been in contact with him anyway. Wanted to pay us respect, me and Tom. Difficult, but after the 2 hours we were there, it felt good and warm, and I think we helped him because we just spoke about the memory. Dino's dad came to every game, every single game. His little boy, Kim Cole, he came to every game. I mean, he's 13 now. It's unbelievable to see. So we spoke about stuff we want to do, and we will do it. We can't say anything, but there is plans in place. I think, but like I said, there's a lot of things to discuss and get sorted: how and when and why and what. So, listen, all the ex-players, we've got a WhatsApp group.
Yeah,
like to do, but that's all I can say on it now, really.
That's more or less it for the interview. I really appreciate you coming on. It will help the channel out, and thank you for coming on.
No worries. Thank you for having me. And
no problem. So that was Danny Lowe on doing an interview. We will try to get future players in the future. Hopefully, we should have one next week. Thank you for everyone that has watched today's live, and have a good night.